Microphone.
Jai Shri Mataji, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening on the 6th of December 2025. It's very nice to have you again, Colin Heinsen. Thank you very much. And Felicity joins us today. So today's session is again on Shri Mataji's photograph because Colin had this opportunity to photograph Shri Mataji, and as we've seen in the first one, in the part one, we're going to take it further. And before we do any of that, though, we're going to listen to Shri Mataji's talk, a little excerpt. The link will be in the introduction to the session in the video details. Okay, so thank you again for joining us, and Jai Shri Mataji. This will be an audio session, so I'm going to turn the camera off as well. Thank you so much. Jai Shri Mataji.
I bow to all the seekers of truth.
Mi inchino davanti a tutti i ricercatori della verità.
Yesterday I gave you an introduction to the spontaneous happening of your self-realization through Sahaja Yoga.
Ieri vi ho dato una introduzione sull'avvenimento spontaneo della realizzazione dentro Sahaja Yoga.
There is no other method than the spontaneous and the living process.
Non c'è altro metodo che questo processo spontaneo e vivente.
As all the seeds sprout the same way, in the same manner, your awakening also takes the same way.
Nello stesso modo che tutti i semi si aprono per diventare piante, nello stesso modo lo risvegliamento si fa.
Today, especially, as asked by someone, I would like to tell you about the aspect of the deities on these centers.
Ieri mi ha richiesto qualcuno di parlare degli aspetti delle deità in questi centri e di questo che vi parlerò oggi.
It's written in the Bible that thou shalt not recreate anything or reproduce anything that is created by the Mother Earth or the sky and worship it.
È stato scritto nella Bibbia che uno non deve ricreare o rifare qualcosa che è stato creato dalla madre terra o dalla natura.
But the first part is, people pay more attention to the second part, where it says whatever is created by Mother Earth and the sky.
La gente dà più importanza alla prima parte che alla seconda, che dice le cose create dalla madre terra.
Now, what is created by the sky and what is created by Mother Earth?
Adesso che cosa è creato dal cielo e che cosa è creato dalla madre terra?
The one that one can worship.
Quello che uno può venerare.
You'll be amazed that this Mother Earth understands much more than we know.
Sarete sorpresi di sapere che la madre terra capisce molto di più che noi sappiamo.
And this Mother Earth produces through her being such stones or such images which has a coefficient which emits vibrations.
E questa madre terra, attraverso il suo essere, crea tante pietre o tanti elementi che sono coefficienti tremendi di vibrazioni.
For example, in England we have a place called Stonehenge.
Per esempio in Inghilterra c'è un posto chiamato Stonehenge.
For a normal person, it is something mysterious,
Per una persona normale è qualcosa di misterioso,
but it is produced by the Mother Earth.
però è stato prodotto dalla Madre Terra
And it is placed in 3.5 coin exactly.
è spostato, arrangiato in 3 giri e mezzo esattamente.
But some people who did not understand the meaning of it took out the stones and placed them on top of other stones.
Però certe gente che non aveva capito il significato di questo ha spostato qualche pietre e le ha messo in sommo di altre pietre.
And there is a cult which blindly goes and worships the place.
E c'è un culto che ciecamente venera questo posto.
But if a realized soul goes there, he can feel the vibrations of that place.
Però se qualcuno realizzato va lì, può sentire le vibrazioni di questo posto.
Now, for you to understand where it is a real thing coming out or not, is best way is to get realization.
Adesso per voi, per sapere di che si tratta o se è veramente così, la miglior cosa è di prendere la realizzazione.
I just saw the photograph of Stonehenge and I said that is the place of worship.
Ho soltanto visto la fotografia di Stonehenge e ho detto, ma questo è un posto di venerazione.
But those who are not realized also go and worship there. It has no meaning.
Quelli che vanno lì e venerano lì ma non sono realizzati, questo non ha nessun significato.
Because if you are not a realized soul, you are not connected and you do not understand what you are doing.
Perché se non siete una anima realizzata, non siete connessi e non capite ciò che state facendo.
And thousands of years have passed. These stones are standing as they are.
E migliaia di anni sono passati e le pietre sono sempre ancora qui.
Now also people have found out that when the magnet is used on the ground, there are some places where it dips down. Means there is more magnetism coming from the Mother Earth, just it pulls it down.
Adesso qualche gente ha provato con una calamite, ecco, e ha notato che a certi posti della Terra c'è una calamite o una calamite è molto attratta verso il centro della Terra.
These are the possible spots where later on the Mother Earth may bring out that kind of a stone which has that coefficients.
E questi sono i posti probabili dove ulteriormente la Madre Terra potrebbe spingere fuori questo tipo di pietre che hanno un tanto alto coefficiente.
For example, the stone that they worship in Makkah is already mentioned in the Puranas, in the ancient books of India.
Per esempio, la pietra nera che è venerata alla Mecca era già stata menzionata nelle Puranas, che sono un antico o anziano libro indiano.
It is called as Makkeshwarshi.
Si chiama Makkeshvarshi.
So it is true that that stone has a power to emit vibrations.
Così è vero che questa pietra ha un potere di emettere delle vibrazioni.
Now in Islamic religion, it was prohibited, absolutely as in Christianity, to worship any statues.
Adesso nell'Islam e in una parte della cristianità, credo, è stato assolutamente proibito di dare reverenza a delle statue.
Because the reproduction of any one of these will be done mostly by people who are money oriented.
Perché la riproduzione della maggioranza di queste immagini sarà fatta da gente che non sono realizzate.
And these money oriented people cannot produce that effect out of the stone or whatever material they use, which is genuine and divine.
Infatti madre diceva che si è fatta non da gente non realizzata ma da gente interessata al denaro, e dice che la gente interessata al denaro non può fare della materia qualcosa che riflette il divino.
For example, Notre Dame has got a statue of Mother Mary, which is very vibrating.
Per esempio a Notre Dame c'è una statua della Vergine che vibra moltissimo.
Because it is done by some artist, a known artist who was a realized soul.
Perché è stata fatta da un artista sconosciuto che era realizzato.
Here also the Sistine Chapel in the Vatican is very vibrating.
Anche qui la Cappella Sistina al Vaticano emette molte vibrazioni.
Because it was created by Michelangelo, who was a realized soul.
Perché è stata creata da Michelangelo, che era un'anima realizzata.
So the one that is created by a realized soul is vibrating.
Così ciò che è stato creato da un'anima realizzata sta vibrando.
In India we have places where there is Shiva's temples are formed on such Swayambhu is come out of itself.
In India ci sono posti dove hanno eretto degli templi a Shiva, ai posti dove tali pietre sono uscite dal suolo.
We have got 12 Jyotirlingas, and actually they are divided, the two last are divided into two halves, means they are in two places.
Ci sono 12 tale Shiva Lingas, e infatti una è divisa in due posti diversi.
But for a person who is not realized, it is just the same whether they worship a Shiva Linga or they worship any other thing has no meaning. They don't understand. They are blind.
Però per una persona che non è realizzata è lo stesso se sta venerando questa pietra Shiva Linga o un altro posto, perché non sente la differenza.
In the beginning, when the search for the spirit started, people saw deities placed on these centers.
All'inizio, quando la gente ha cominciato a voler venerare le deità, ha visto che c'erano delle deità su questi diversi centri.
But when they saw that these centers had these deities, they made statues out of that.
Quando hanno visto che questi centri avevano delle deità, o a questi centri corrispondevano delle deità, hanno cominciato a venerarle diversamente.
And they started praying to those statues.
E hanno cominciato a pregare queste statue.
So if we have to get to the nectar or to the honey in the flower, they started talking about the flower.
Così se vogliamo arrivare al miele o al nectar del fiore, cominciamo a parlare del fiore.
And that is how they got lost in the flowers.
È così che si sono dopo persi nei fiori.
Now, the thing was when a person like Christ or a person like Muhammad, all these people came on this earth, they saw that this idolatry was going on of the things which are not vibrated and the people who are blind.
Adesso quando Cristo e Mohammed sono venuti su questa terra, hanno notato che posti che non vibravano erano venerati, hanno cominciato a voler reagire contro questa idolatria.
So they started talking only about the honey, so that people should care for the honey.
Allora hanno cominciato a parlare soltanto del miele, di modo che la gente comincia a cercare il miele.
Of course, all of them said that you must get your second birth.
Ovviamente tutti hanno detto che dobbiamo avere la nostra seconda nascita,
That you must get your self-realization.
che la gente deve avere la sua realizzazione.
I think Saj Yogis can come forward so others can sit down there. You can come forward and sit here. You are all right. The young people can sit. You can sit there.
Excuse me, can you translate for
Saj Yogis.
Let them come forward. Now, then they thought it is better to talk about the honey that is contained in the flower.
Hanno pensato allora che era meglio di parlare del miele che è contenuto nel fiore
And put the attention of people on the honey itself.
e mettere l'attenzione della gente sul miele stesso.
But their followers were not realized souls.
Però i loro seguaci non erano gente realizzata.
And because they were not realized souls, they started their own ideas about getting to the honey.
E come non erano animate realizzate, hanno cominciato a utilizzare le loro proprie idee e hanno dimenticato il miele.
So they talked about a God without a form.
E così hanno parlato di un Dio senza forma.
But they also talked and talked.
E hanno anche parlato.
They did not follow what these great incarnations had said, that you are to be born again.
Non hanno seguito ciò che dicevano le incarnazioni, cioè che uno deve essere nato una seconda volta.
Human beings are very good at making mess of everything that is real.
Gli esseri umani sono molto bravi a fare casino di tutto ciò che è reale.
So to get to the honey, what has to happen? That you have to become the bee.
E allora, per arrivare al miele, che cosa accade? È che uno deve diventare l'ape.
If you are not the bee, you cannot get to the honey, whether we talk of the honey or of the flower.
Se uno non è un'ape, non riesce a arrivare al miele, che parli del miele o del fiore.
Why these people talk so much that they build up dogmas after dogmas, all artificial.
E allora la gente parla e costruisce dogma sopra dogma, è tutto artificiale.
The simple thing was to get realization.
La cosa semplice era di avere la realizzazione del sé,
Which is a very, very simple thing done by the Kundalini that is within you.
che è una cosa semplicissima fatta dalla Kundalini che sta dentro di voi.
Some people also thought of the Kundalini, but they also made a big dogma out of it.
Qualche gente anche ha pensato alla Kundalini, però ne ha fatto grandi dogma.
With these dogmas, you cannot reach there.
Con questi dogma non si arriva lì.
On the contrary, with these dogmas, people only fight and have hatred for each other.
Al contrario, con questi dogmi la gente soltanto si disputa e comincia a odiarsi l'una l'altra.
And these dogmas only have made all these religions, or you can say all these praises of God, as useless.
E tutti questi
Jai Shri Mataji.
Jai Shri Mataji.
It's a lovely introduction. We listened to a little excerpt of Shri Mataji there, Colin, Felicity. Colin, here's the collection that you have kindly shared with the collective, actually, the UK, of those thousands of photos that you've taken of Shri Mataji. So would you please talk us through this as we go along? Is that okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes. So the first photograph is of Shri Mataji at in Margate, and it was a celebration of Navratri Puja, and this is a moment of Shri Mataji holding the sword, and it was a great blessing to have a camera to capture the moment of a beautiful moment where Shri Mataji is making a statement after puja. Yeah. So it's one of a series of photographs, and we have a photograph of Shri Mataji on the seashore with Yogi Mahajan in Ganapatiphule. And so it's a lovely moment to capture
Beautiful.
her freedom walking on the seashore. And it's a very joyful moment and expressive of her divine nature with the sea.
Beautiful.
This photograph is of Shri Mataji at Pratishthan near Pune, in Pune, mother's house. And Pratishthan represents the roots. And as the name implies, it represents the Pratishthan means the roots. And so this is a lovely photograph of Shri Mataji waving to the collective. Perhaps she was departing inside. So it's just we'd spent time together in the courtyard with Shri Mataji, and I think this was a conclusive moment, if I remember correctly.
Wow. So spend the day with Shri Mataji, and then as she retires for the day, afternoon, probably from the sunshine.
Yes, I think there was a series of photographs beforehand where Mother is walking up the stairway, and then she turns to wave at everyone before entering into her palace.
Joy.
This photograph is of Shri Mataji in Rahuri, Maharashtra, and it's the first photograph I took, the first series of photographs which I took of Mother. There were no other photographers there, so it's just an amazing privilege to be in front of the goddess and have a camera to capture the moment. So it's very heartwarming, very joyful moment with Shri Mataji looking into the lens, and it's a great privilege to press the button at the right time to capture the photograph.
So this is, what puja was this, Colin?
Shri Mahalaxmi Puja in Rahuri. Her physical mother came from Rahuri, I believe, and so there's a strong family link to Shri Mataji as Shri Lakshmi, Shri Mahalaxmi. This photograph was taken at the same time, and it's a photograph that was widely used as a poster to advertise Saj Yoga meetings across India, and it was circulated widely, to my understanding. So it the photograph is good that it's complete with Mother's hands and feet and the background. In India, they respond more to the situation, as much to the situation of the pose of Shri Mataji. So it's
Because
nice to have a complete photograph of Shri Mataji with her.
this is, isn't there a name for this pose? Because she's giving blessings. She's got her left hand out and her right hand up with the cross on it. And I remember that Mother saying that, you know, when you're meditating also, to have, it's important to have Mother's hands and feet. And here she is looking out at you. So as you said, this is a very good photo to have on, or the one before it also, to have on the altar. But do you remember, Sushmita, the significance of the hand position in this position?
Well, it's Shri Mahalaxmi Puja, isn't it? So yes, Shri Mataji is giving the blessings, but it's important and nice of you to point out that, you know, ideally one should have the not just the lotus feet, but also the hands of Shri Mataji for meditation, because increasingly, I mean, it's not probably a well-known fact anymore, because earlier the advantage was you could just straight away ask Shri Mataji. Now we kind of read things or listen to Shri Mataji, or it's kind of like handed down information. So it's very important that you raise this point. Thank you.
Because also what Shimataji said was that when we meditate on her feet, it absorbs the ego and superego, and
Yes.
hands give blessings to us. So it's good to have, we need to have both aspects on the altar, you know, not just the feet or not just the face.
Yes.
And the hands help our eyesight, so it's very good for our meditation to be with Shri Mataji with her hands open.
Yes, very important.
This photograph was of Shri Mataji at Austria Airport in 1984, and with some flowers. She was arriving from I believe Switzerland. We had 3 programs, one in Switzerland, one in Austria, and then we went on to Germany, where Mother was giving public programs in this area. And this is a beautiful moment of Mother.
This was in the 80s?
1984 it was taken, and there's another photograph that follows it in the next frame, perhaps, where Shri Mataji has her vibrations flowing through the photograph, through her smile. Perhaps we come to it later on. If we do, I'll comment about it. But there's a miracle photograph that appears at the same time in the next frame of the camera, and Mother's smiling vibrations, and it's very heartwarming to see.
Yes, I think we shared that in the last one when we shared the mug photos, Colin, didn't we? But
Okay.
even here, the flowers, they seem to reflect, or in fact, you know, they are expressing the joy of Shri Mataji, you know, the smile. It's just like there's a special glow to them, isn't it?
Yeah, certainly. It's such a beautiful to see Mother decorated by flowers, and hopefully we're pleasing Mother, pleasing the deities, and no doubt the vibrations are flowing as we offer a flower to the photograph of Shri Mataji, so the vibrations increase.
Yes.
So it's lovely to capture that moment, ideally in the photograph frame. The elements are able to manifest and generate the vibrations, no doubt, through the photograph. So it's always nice to decorate Shri Mataji and just see for yourself with your altar at home. When we offer a flower to Mother's photograph, we feel the vibrations increase. When we're decorating Shri Mataji, we like the flowers of the Mother Earth decorating the goddess.
Absolutely.
This photograph is of Mother in Germany, Munich, this was after we came from Austria to travel to Germany for the first puja in Germany. Again, it was Sri Lakshmi Puja, and it was in Munich, and it was a very beautiful moment, very joyful moment to capture. And when we arrived in Germany, I think I commented in the last video, when we crossed the border from Austria into Germany, just felt the vibrations really change. It felt really heavy. And we arrived in Munich, and there was a Nazi rally happening in the main square. So this is like it's wonderful how Mother can be so detached to share her love and beauty when there is a lot to work out from the past as she establishes Sahaja Yoga in different countries.
Yes, and such exquisite colors. I mean, the backdrop's so heavy, and yet Shri Mataji's presence makes it so light and joyful.
Yeah,
I don't mean the photos backdrop. I mean the political, the geopolitical situation of the country at that time, perhaps even now, the way things are.
Yeah, it's a lovely time at the beginning of a great revolution, spiritual revolution. Mother sweeping across Europe and sweeping across the world with her attention to establish Sahaja Yoga collectives in different locations, so we could all grow together as one.
Yes.
This photograph was of Mother at Navratri Puja in Hampstead in 1984. And again, very joyful moment to capture. The key is pressing the button of the camera at the right time, looking in the lens and capturing the moment of the expression on her face, because her face is a multitude of different things working out, and every split second it sort of represents a different aspect of her being. So it's always a great joy when the photographs would come back from the printers and you can capture the moment, and ideally it's like a great moment of eternity to celebrate. So Hampstead represents the heart, and this is in the town hall. I live very close by, and it's a beautiful memory to enjoy.
Yeah. Felicity, you had a point as to the sort of the state of the photographer as well, wasn't it?
Oh, it was just that, oh, wait. Yeah, there were many people taking photos, but a lot of people take like snapshots. They'd come up after puja and Mother would pose and they take the photo. But Colin's photos have this really luminous quality that you feel you're looking into Mother's face. And as he just mentioned, you could tell there is not so much an art, but there's a surrender
Yes.
needed to be in Sasrara, to be, as you said, Colin, at the right moment, taking the photo, and to also recognize, as I know you said to me, to be in that open receiving state, so that you, as you said, you just know when to press the button, and we can really see the difference in the quality. And so this is why many people can take photos, but they often they can be tarnished with the quality of your vibrations at the time. And that's what set so many of your photos apart, Colin, was that you were able to be in that state, that you were just receiving Mother. And you can feel that when you look at these photos and you meditate on them, you feel Mother fully there. So thank you for that. Thank you for
your description. So it's so joyful, when Mother Shri Mataji is looking into the picture frame and you have a camera and you're pressing the button, and it's quite difficult not to keep pressing the button because it's so beautiful, so joyful. It's like you wouldn't choose to be anywhere else in the world, so it's a great privilege to be in her company and celebrate these moments where we spent time with her, and it was such a privilege.
And as you said, you know, from second to second, her expression could change, and not just the expression, but the quality. You know, that series you just showed us from Rahuri, there's, I think there's like or 5 or 6 different photos, and you can feel each one has a different quality in it. And she could also switch in pujas. You know, like at the end of the puja, you could be taking the photo, she could be posing for a Sri Lakshmi, you know, for the puja, but then she could take on another aspect at the same time, or just after. Yeah.
True, very true. Yeah, every moment her mood was changing. Effectively, goodness knows how she was working out. You know, whatever she was working out, she can understand. It's beyond our thinking mind. So it's great to connect visually with Mother, and hopefully things are working out on a wider level with her attention, no doubt. This photograph is of Shri Mataji in France, and it was used for a poster in France. It was a puja, I can't remember. Maybe it was Navratri Puja again in France. So the joyful moments in the centre.
Yeah. Oh.
That's the key, being in the centre. And it's lovely when the composition is balanced in the centre, and it's reflecting the central channel of Sushumna within us, ideally, of the present moment, where we're connecting to Sahasrara, we're connecting to Shri Mataji's love, the source of Shri Mataji's love in the photograph manifests. So it's like, you know, it's capturing that quality of love and joy and beauty of the moment. Like, it's a great epitome of beauty, no doubt. This photograph was in Hounslow. It was a Christmas puja, the one before. And so that was a nice, memorable occasion. This photograph is of Shri Mataji in Vaitana, India, a beautiful location where we had the Arts Academy as it developed into the first Arts Academy in India. And this was a series of photographs in the hut of Mother, a very humble hut. And it's such a beautiful location, miles away from anywhere. It's a place where Sri Sita and Rama walked across the fields, the landscape in the past. And it's far away from all the concrete and man-made world. And vibrations are very strong, very powerful, very, very beautiful. So this photograph was one of a series. And when Mother made the comment at this time, she commented that she never sees me because I'm behind a camera. So it's quite playful that to press the button of the camera at that moment while she was saying that. So a very joyful moment, no doubt. Yeah, it's a great privilege. This photograph is in Nasik, and a beautiful series of photographs where Mother decorated, very colourful puja. I think the puja became, Mother commented later as Shri Mahalaxmi, Shri Mahakali, and she spoke about how Rama was being tempted by temptresses, if that's the right expression, and he cut off their nose or to lose the ego. And that was a comment I remember in the talk at that time. So I think Mother takes the aspect of Shri Mahakali, and then later on in the same series of photographs, Mother comments at the puja in Wimbledon how it represents Vishnu Maya. So Mother comments about different aspects of her being in different photographs.
So you mean from this puja, Shri Mataji was saying there were different aspects, Shri Mahakali and Shri Vishnu Maya?
She made a comment later on when we had the puja in London, Wimbledon, Mother, it was a Vishnu Maya Puja, and Mother commented about the photograph in this same series as Vishnu Maya, but we come to that photograph later. But this is one of a series of photographs in the puja in India, Nasik, which is the place of the heart of Sri Durga. So a very special place, no doubt. And we were lucky, so fortunate how Mother would take us on tour to India each year, specifically in Maharashtra, to discover the special locations of Maharashtra, where it represents the 3.5 coils of the Kundalini. So the vibrations are very strong, and that represents the roots of Sahaja Yoga in India. Perhaps began in Maharashtra. Her attention was very much there, and very much her attention was bringing us with her there, so that she could establish the vibrations, establish the foundations of Sahaja Yoga, so we could all clear out internationally. Every day Mother was working on us during the tours, and during the tour, and you felt that growth happening and leaving things behind and moving forward. So Mother was really lifting us up, elevating us to Sahasrara, and it's wonderful moments, to live. This photograph is of Shri Mataji in a procession in India, and where she's been drawn by bullock carts, and it could be in Vaitana, it could be in another location in India, but certainly Maharashtra. And so Mother would set up a situation in a village in the countryside to celebrate her coming, her visit to the village, and all the local villagers would come out, and there'd be a procession of all the Sahaja-yogis dancing, there'd be lovely music, and just a great celebration of the goddess. And it's a celebration so far as to refer to C.S. Lewis. He spoke about, in The Great Divorce, the book he wrote, he's a great realized soul. He was very much an academic in Cambridge, and he wrote some beautiful children's stories about Narnia, the series of Narnia. Anyway, he had this vision, which is depicted in his book, The Great Divorce, how in the future there'd be angels dancing like transparent figures with the goddess. And so he was like a prophet for Shri Mataji, with her processions, dancing. And if you have a chance, there's a beautiful excerpt to read where he describes the beauty of the goddess emanating with all the transparent angels dancing before her. So this was a reflection of how we as Sahaja-yogis were celebrating her advent, her visit to a village in India. So she was most pleased by the villagers out in the country in India, because they're not being spoilt by materialism or the Western development that's happening now, especially in India. So it's lovely to celebrate the native roots of the countryside of India, and perhaps the procession was in praise of this. They certainly are now, no doubt, to enjoy and celebrate the countryside and the vibrations of India. This photograph was of Shri Mataji, of Shri in Brahmapuri in India, and it was it was taken. We would go to Brahmapuri, and it's a favourite place of Shri Mataji. Apparently, she's incarnated 4 times in that location. Once as Shri Radha, once as Shri Sita, should I say, and then as Shri Radha as Krishna, the Vishuddhi chakra, and then so from the heart to the Vishuddhi, and then to the Agya as Mary. She came with Jesus Christ to Brahmapuri, apparently, and then the 4th aspect of her being was her to visit as her present incarnation with all aspects of the deities within her as the goddess, Her Holiness Shri Mataji Nirmala Devi. She commented there was a photograph that every Sahaja Yogi should have, and there was a Sahaja Yogi, Chris Marlowe, apparently, he commented to say that Shri Mataji, this was a favourite photograph of Shri Mataji. So he passed that on to me. So it's a beautiful moment to celebrate her beauty and her joy, and whatever was working out, hopefully for the good, is captured within the photograph of her as Sri Krishna. And so hopefully it helps our Vishuddhi to open up and manifest, to feel the joy of her being in the meditation. So it's a nice, very joyful, heartwarming photograph to meditate with. Very comforting, very beautiful, no doubt. This photograph, I think it was in Alibag by the sea, where lots of coconut trees were growing by the sea. There's a Sahaja Yogi there who's a fisherman, and he, we had a beautiful puja with Shri Mataji where Mother commented about the coconuts, how they will never fall upon your head. When they fall from the tree, we're always protected, but they're like a living force, and it appears they have a great sensitivity to celebrate. So it's a beautiful moment. I just felt I included this photograph in a series because it's like a painting. It's just expressing such a beautiful composition of joy of Mother with us as the yogis, with a beautiful Indian dance manifesting with music, and it's really heavenly. And Mother commented about how there's a photograph of the deities, there's a painting where all the deities are dancing and all the deities are with Shri Mataji. And Blake did a painting in the same series to Beatrix. I can't remember the title of the painting at the moment, but it was reflecting the same aspect of her being, where Sri Hanumana is present, Sri Bhairava is present, and the different deities are present. So, yeah, wonderful memory, beautiful. Heaven, it's like being transported to heaven, no doubt, and no doubt it's where we would choose to stay and be. Beautiful. This photograph was of Shri Mataji and Shuri Camps looking out of the window, and we were building, I think it was a Guru Puja, and we were busy finishing off the building work, or at least completing a major stage of building work at Shuri Camps, and we were all busy working day and night to complete the ashram for Shri Mataji's arrival at Shuri Camps. And so that photograph, I believe, is when Mother was looking out of the window, and we had a big marquee in the garden, and again it was a great time of celebration where we were, it was good for us English to complete such a project in time for the Shri Mataji's arrival. So Shuri Camps was a great place where Mother had great visions of. Yes, it's a beautiful memory. I think this photograph is in Chartres in France, where we were gathered together outside with Mother. Mother commented we should somebody should do a painting of her with all the Sahaja Yogis, and perhaps this composition expresses that. And again, beautiful moment to be with Shri Mataji and the collective. We were so lucky in the early 80s, to have close contact with Shri Mataji. and such a great privilege. Where it was like a whirlwind of activity. There was always something happening. We would see Shri Mataji every week, and in London, and it's a golden age of Sahaja Yoga, and I'm sure I'm not the only one who would choose to relive those beautiful memories once more. This is a photograph of Shri Mataji. I'm not sure of the location. Most likely India. This photograph is curious. It came out, I called it the cubist photograph. It's one frame, picture frame, on the negative. So it was a photograph taken before any interruption of Photoshop or digital photography. And it's a curious photograph because in that one frame, in that one split second, it's like it embraces different views of Shri Mataji's face and head, and you can see 3 or 4 different angles of her face manifesting within the photograph. And I remember Mother commented about the 5 elements, and I just wonder if maybe this photograph could capture the 5 elements, at least express the 5 elements. But it's quite a puzzling photograph. It was certainly a miracle, and it's a photograph that to celebrate whatever was working out at that time. And I think perhaps it was taken in Pune, India, and it's a curious photograph to celebrate her being. So perhaps it's a photograph. I call it, perhaps a cubist view of Shri Mataji. It seems to define it in some way, but maybe other people have other ideas about the photograph. But it's very special and very powerful to meditate with, and it feels quite divine, quite sublime, whatever was manifesting in her being at that time. Yes, photograph Shri Mataji. This photograph Shri Mataji in India, and after a puja, and it's very playful. Mothers, we were photographing Shri Mataji collectively, and it's just a beautiful moment where she was very it seemed like she was very childlike. So, previously she'd expressed some very serious aspects of her being, and then she was perhaps feeling very playful. The photograph expresses a playful aspect of her being, very joyful, and beautiful to see Shri Mataji's feet in an unusual situation, suspended in front of her as she's in a position of namaste to us as we photograph and celebrate her puja. There's a Sahaja Yogi in America called Adrian, and he's doing a wonderful job collating Mother's photograph. He's a professor, and he's very assiduous in putting the photograph with location, detailing where particular photographs were taken. And so he's work in progress. He's very busy with this project. So it's a great project to clarify the exact location where different photographs have been taken. So it's work in progress. I just thought I'd mention his name because he's doing such a good job.
He is fantastic, smug mug that Felicity had pointed out in a while ago now, and that we used in our last video, Colin. Here it seems there's marigold flowers, and there seems to be an advisory, for lack of a better word, that we should not offer marigolds. Is it true or not? Could either of you or both of you inform the viewers and us, please?
Maybe certainly man-made, manipulated flowers like carnations ideally should not be offered to Shri Mataji because they've been manipulated by mankind. Perhaps the same situation is with marigolds as well.
The marigolds, I remember the marigolds came about because in India at the time, they were used for funerals. Like when people died for burials, this was the flower we understood, Mother said, was used, and therefore we shouldn't offer this flower to Shri Mataji. It wasn't auspicious. I don't know if things have changed over time, but certainly in the 80s, we never offered marigolds or used marigolds.
Oh, good. There was another flower as well, which I remember was inauspicious. It grows on a bush. It's a bright red flower, not to be offered to Shri Mataji. I can't remember the name of it, but it's a flower that grows widely in India, and it looks very beautiful, but it's not. The vibrations are not appropriate for decorating Shri Mataji.
Yes, I having mentioned that about the marigolds, I remember last year we were collecting calendula flowers, which are different, but also they're definitely a different flower. And we commented again that it was okay to offer calendula because they weren't marigolds. So I think this is I mean, we never should be fanatical about anything, but that was why we didn't offer marigolds because of their association with burials and
Okay. And bougainvillea was the name I was trying to remember. This bright red flower.
bougainvillea.
Yeah, that's not a photograph ideally to offer to Mother.
A flower, not a flower to offer.
Bougainvillea is the name.
It's not a flower. It's a leaf brag that's colorful and therefore it's considered a flower. So that's why it's auspicious to offer bougainvillea.
Oh, good. And we had, I remember in Hampstead, there's Rita Davis, she used to live, lovely old Satyogini, and she would, Mother went to visit her in Yorkshire, and she had lots of daisies growing in her garden, and Mother commented how the daisy is like the flower of England, and it has a perfume. Suddenly, in 1984, that time, the flower developed a perfume, and dear Rita created an article in the local newspaper in Yorkshire to highlight this issue. And so it's a lovely statement. But the daisy is the flower of England. It's not the rose. It's the daisy, and now it has a perfume which it never had before. I just thought I'd comment about that.
No, that's good. That's good. Yeah.
And was it Shri Mataji's nickname as well, Daisy? Is that right?
Could be.
Yeah, I think Ruth said that, and certainly she said that Shri Mataji was very fond of daisies. It was one of her favorite flowers, apparently.
This is in the same series as Shri Mataji and Navratri in Hampstead, close to where I live in Hampstead, and a beautiful moment, beautiful smile on Mother's face, really radiant, and her smile is so broad, so joyful, and it's a lovely example how joyful Mother can be. She takes a particular aspect, which perhaps is opposite to the puja because it's a Navratri Puja, where this Mother as the goddess, Sri Durga, destroying all the negativity in the middle of a battle. And it felt like we were coming out of the battle at the end of, after the puja, and this photograph celebrates how the goddess is to celebrate the joy of the victory of her advent over good over evil, where as Navaratri she's busy destroying the negativity of the evil forces, the satanic forces. So perhaps this is much more true to her motherly aspect, to celebrate Sahaja as the great blossom time for humanity. This photograph was of Shri Mataji in Brahmapuri. It's where the river Krishna flows, and the mother was walking by the rocks by the river. Earlier we had the puja of Mother as Sri Krishna, which she commented about her favorite flower. So this was maybe the same, I think the same occasion. We were in Brahmapuri, and there's some beautiful photographs of Shri Mataji in this location. Chris Patmore took a lovely photograph of Mother there, and lovely. We all see photography is infinite, and there's everywhere we look in India there's a photograph, but to be able to photograph the goddess in India is such a celebration, no doubt. And so it's this Mother in Brahmapuri, and we bathed in the river. There's a beautiful moment later where Mother came to join us and sit on the rocks and encourage us all to bathe in the river in her presence. And there's other photographs that celebrate this time, but this is in the same location. So the river is very special, and it's a centre it's a health centre in Brahmapuri, and they often have a big celebration happening at the end of January, where they invite people to come and celebrate Brahmapuri. So it's a beautiful location, and I'm lucky enough to be going there later in January this year. I fly to India in 2 days' time, so I'm busy getting straight before going.
Really appreciate you're telling us all about it, and can't wait to hear the update, can we?
No. So you mentioned, Colin, about Shri Mataji coming to sit on the rocks. And the tour I was on in 1985, she sat on a rock, sort of, that was quite deep around her. The water was quite deep. And she called all the yogis to come up and literally bow in the water at her feet, like you were sort of submerged in the water. And then we came kind of in a line and passed through, which was a very amazingly special experience. And there were photos taken at that time, but you weren't there at that particular time. Wasn't you who took those photos?
I took one or two, yeah, in the series. I've been lucky to travel to Brahmapuri about 10 times. I mean, that's not relevant, but yeah, it's just, yeah, there are some photographs of Shri Mataji sitting on the rock in the river
With people in front of
celebrating
her.
you speak of.
Right.
Yeah. I love the colour of this photograph of the decoration of the red flowers with the blue backdrop of Mother, and very sharp, very clear photograph exposure in the photograph. It's nice when the camera captures the light and it's clear and sharp, and Mother is looking in the lens straight towards the camera. So it's lovely to press the button at the right time. And perhaps this photograph expresses that. Again, here it's celebrating the central viewpoint of Shri Mataji, celebrating her in the present moment, sharing her love and vibrations in the present moment as she looks into the camera. So these photographs are from different pujas, different locations in India, especially. This was in Ganapatiphule, I believe, or it was a photograph that was used in Turkey, if I'm correct. But the photograph was taken in Brahmapur in India. Yeah, I think it was a Christmas puja. I believe it was a Krishna puja. But perhaps it's another photograph I'm thinking of where Mother is dressed to celebrate like not a Muslim aspect.
So she has the
Working
shawl, she has the palu over her head, and the Muslim ladies cover their, just in normal life, they cover their heads just like that lightly with a scarf too. And we also use this for the Iranian yogis because they appreciate the modesty of having your head covered like that.
Well defined. It's much more auspicious, is my understanding, to decorate women, for ladies to decorate themselves like that in that aspect. This is a miracle photograph, a series of 3 or 4 photographs where the vibrations emanate from Mother's feet. And if you look closely, you can see there's like a light, like a smoke. The vibrations emanate as like a smoky, misty manifestation. So that's my interpretation of the photograph. And the previous photograph, I think, expresses that more. It's a close-up of Mother's feet. It's this one here. This was taken in the same puja, and it's highlighting how the vibrations are flowing. And there's one more photograph which comes later in the series where the vibrations are manifesting. It would appear that the vibrations are manifesting from Shri Mataji's feet. This photograph was taken in Rahuri, and it's a photograph that's used at puja in Capella now, still for puja. And his mother is Sri Lakshmi, and it's a very joyful moment to be at Mother's feet to photograph her. This represents a first photograph which I took of Mother. So it's a great celebration of this beauty of this moment in time. Rahuri. Rahuri is a location where some lovely miracle photographs were taken in the past by New Zealand yogini. What's her name? Cheryl?
Cheryl Bradshaw?
Yeah, I think so. And she took my first ever view of miracle photographs, a series of 7 photographs of Shri Mataji, where the vibrations manifest. And she puts her hand up to block the vibrations. And it was a celebration of a soul coming to worship her at this moment, if I remember correctly. So somebody else can perhaps clarify that in another occasion. But it's a beautiful series of photographs of Mother, of 7 photographs, which are very well known. And
Kay talked about that. It's just as you said, that she's sitting on the stage, and it's just sort of normal lighting, and suddenly this beam of light comes down, and Mother in the next one puts her hand up, and as you said correctly, was a soul coming to honor Mother.
Yes. This photograph was taken in Bandipur in India. We were so fortunate to be at this puja, and Mother comments about our good fortune of us being able to attend the puja to her in this aspect of Sri Shiva. It's a time when Mother connected the heart to the brain, and it felt like it was a manifestation of a great move forward in the evolution of humanity.
It's a very, very powerful talk, and it's not just a talk, there's the puja, and I think there's a meditation also at some point in that recording. And as you said, it felt very historical that this, and she says this is a very important talk, you should listen to this again, because we forget that as from the beginning when Shri Mataji first opened Susrara, it has been a continuous evolution of change within the human beings, within humanity. And as you said, at this puja, something dramatic happened, and Shri Mataji talks about this opening of the heart to connect to Susrara. So when this happens in the puja, it means it's happened. It's not just a one-off. It's like now, this connection is made. Now the heart and the sasrara are open and connected. And when you put your attention on your heart, your sasrara automatically opens. And this is for posterity, this ability, this quality that Mother has made manifest for us as humans.
Wonderful, wonderful moment, so deep and special. Shri Mataji in Switzerland, I think. So it's beautiful to see Mother decorated with a backdrop, celebrating her being as Sri Krishna, as she's playing a flute, and you have the Saturn, the planet, as a backdrop behind her in the photograph. So this was perhaps an expression of an ideal photograph of Mother, of Shri Mataji's complete being, physical being, where her feet and hands are showing with the backdrop, and it's just emanating a universal view of her incarnation, of her being. I remember once after a puja, in Italy, I know it was after a public program in Rome, in Italy, in '84, and we came out of the hall, and I found myself standing next to Shri Mataji. And Mother commented to look up at the stars, and look, and she pointed to a star that had just been created. Perhaps it was Pluto, which she was referring to, which is a manifestation, an expression of Sri Kalki. So it's an amazing moment, and it was such a joy. I mean, I can't, joy is beyond words, but to celebrate these moments with her being. And I remember she came out of the hall and she was shaking hands with all the new people, and with cheekiness, I found myself shaking hands with Mother, making the most of an opportunity. So that's a beautiful moment, a beautiful memory to enjoy. Mother always looked very happy in Rome. It's the land of the soul, and there's a connection between the spirit of England and the land of the soul, connecting the heart to the brain, perhaps. And so Mother was busy working out the Vishuddhi, integrating the whole as one. And ideally, with our attention at Sahasrara, we can enjoy meditating on this aspect of her being, which is infinity, universal, macrocosm. And it expresses the microcosm within us of our subtle being, where everything is so intricately produced. This photograph is of in Switzerland for sure. Again, Sri Krishna Puja. And we were lucky to go for this puja. I remember going to the puja. I didn't have a bag to come back with, and at the airport, so it was a bit of a divergence from the subject, but I always remember because I had a dustbin bag. It's the only bag I had to put my stuff in it. You just sort of spend all your wages going to puja, and I mean, that was that time. It was having great faith in Mother looking after us, no doubt. This is a photograph of Shri Mataji in a procession, where I was very fortunate, where everyone was dancing, and I was photographing Shri Mataji as she came forward in the bullock cart, and then I suddenly saw her waving at me to come close to her, to come and speak, for her to speak to me. And so I ran towards next to the bullock cart, and she said for me to come and sit next to her on the bullock cart and photograph the procession from her point of view. So this is a photograph of her point of view, sitting next to Shri Mataji, looking at everyone dancing and celebrating her visit, her procession, at this time. And then she commented to, "Oh, you see that tree ahead? Go and climb that tree and take another photograph of the procession from a different angle." And these photographs appear later in the same series of photographs. But what a privilege to be able to be sitting next to the goddess in a bullock cart. Beyond words, how to put it into words, the sublime experience, to be in that location, to celebrate that location. So photographs are always celebrating a moment in time. It's a great beauty of still photographs. They capture the still moment in time. Film takes on a different aspect because it's always transitory, it's always moving, imagery is always changing. So to photograph Mother at a time with 35mm film camera feels quite significant now that photography has become more digital orientated, electric orientated. So the film photographs embrace the 5 elements. And it's curious how Mother made photography available in the evolution of humanity in the early 1900s. And it manifested into film. And we were able to photograph her nature with 35mm photographs, film photographs, which embrace the elements. I'm not sure if the elements are so embraced with digital photography. And I listened to a talk recently where Mother commented about how electricity, the vibrations can channel through electricity, or the vibrations of Param Chaitanya can be transmitted through I'll get that right in a minute. Electricity can't come within Param Chaitanya, but Param Chaitanya can manifest through electricity.
Electromagnetic.
So it was like a point of discretion. It appears. So it felt very deep. Mother comments about it in her talk to clarify. So it's interesting that how she was in control of Param Chaitanya totally, but it can't be interrupted or invaded by electricity. But electricity can be used as a vehicle for Param Chaitanya, is my understanding. This photograph was taken at the end of the procession, where we were dancing we're sitting next to Shri Mataji in the bullock cart. So this photograph is the one in another one of the series where Mother's smiling at me very sweetly to comment, "Oh, she never sees me because I'm behind a camera." So this expresses another aspect of her being where she looks more serious, and only she knows what was working out at that time. No doubt the growth, and every moment she was destroying negativity for the sake of the good. The beautiful backdrop in this photograph, beautiful decoration of Shri Mataji, a full-length puja of Mother with a decoration, with a beautiful crown, ornate with beautiful flowers, decorating her divine being. This photograph was taken from a distance with a zoom lens, so hence it's a bit foggy. It was the film was a different ASA, so not so much for brightness anyway. The photograph is curious that Mother to capture a moment from such a distance with a telephoto lens. The Mother was looking into the lens from a distance, and again to press the button to capture this moment in time is a privilege of a camera. Only a camera can have. this the last photograph which just appeared was a series of photographs. One of the first photographs I took of Mother in Europe. Quite a dark photograph. Can we go back to it or not? But it's curious because there's light. Yes, that photograph there.
Why it's not opening? It just opened there, didn't it? And then it's
Yeah.
just blank.
Sometimes perhaps go back and go forward again and it will reappear. Yes.
Just for a flicker of a second, it reappeared.
Beautiful photo. You can see it's a series.
This is one of a series of photographs, about 5 photographs where light appears above her hand and it appears to move around in different photographs as she's in this pose where the photographs were taken in close succession with one another.
I'm sorry, Colin. I don't know why it's just the photograph seems to
Okay.
disappear.
Just pass slowly through them and see if we can see them briefly. No.
See, when it's just there for a second and then it goes.
A technical hiccup. Yeah.
Okay.
Fine.
I have a project in progress where the photographs are being made digital, high quality resolution, so they're being scanned to the highest resolution and quality. So they would be put together as a series of photographs where each photograph is next to the previous photograph in the same situation, described with the location described. So
Wonderful, wonderful.
it'd be nice. I look forward to see those photographs when Adam completes his project. Yes.
See that?
Adrian, I meant to say, not Adam, Adrian in New York. So it's nice to see the photographs in series because they become like a film orientated with different, like an animation of still photographs, creates a film which is made up of many still photographs in succession.
I'm sorry, I've just stopped that share because it's not opening the photographs anymore. So, would you tell us at some point if Shri Mataji spoke about, you know how, because she could through thing she knows it all, obviously. So now there is a trend because it's so easy with, technology, digital technology and everything. People have Shri Mataji's photograph and they create reels and videos and things with Photoshop. Is there any sort of advice that you can share with us that Shri Mataji possibly told?
My understanding is that her photograph shouldn't be manipulated in any digital format other than from shown as the original. So it shouldn't be corrected. It shouldn't be painted. I remember seeing there's a classic black and white photograph of Shri Mataji as Sri Adi Shakti, and there's a painted version, a color version of the same photograph that's been done by a paintbrush by an Indian, perhaps an Indian man, I believe. And it became very popular. So it's important to have the discretion to access the original photograph where it hasn't been manipulated in any way. And now it can be getting out of control. And I remember that there's quite a big intellectual copyright action being taken where some people are manipulating the photographs of Shri Mataji and sharing them online via YouTube, and it's not respectable at all.
But it's also
the door for negativity to jump in and corrupt.
It changes the vibrations. It's no longer Shri Mataji's vibrations. The person who has manipulated it or adulterated or changed it has put their vibrations into the photo. So it's no longer a representation of Shri Mataji's photos. So it's the same with her words. That's really, in the same way Shri Mataji said, every word of hers is a mantra. So the same thing with the photo, it's complete representation of her vibrations, of her being, of an aspect that she was manifesting at that time. So it's absolutely not to be done or not to be meditated on, even not to look at, because you are absorbing, as you said, Colin, some forms of negativity. It's not the truth.
No, it's not auspicious, and it's against protocol to manipulate mother's photograph in any.
But I think what's important for people to understand is that it's not just a protocol. It's actually a dangerous thing to do. It's not for our benevolence. It's not good for our vibrations to be doing that or to be looking at photos that have had that happen.
True. The satanic forces, the negativity is trying to find ways to break up the collective and manifest through different means. And I can't help feeling it's an expression of negativity, which is attacking the pure nature of Shri Mataji's photographs in their original context.
I remember one story I just want to share was that this was in like 81. They were preparing photos to be used for posters, and a set was brought to Raman Gardens, the hotel where Shri Mataji, we were meeting with her at the time. And she said, who took these? Who made these? Who made these posters? And the name of a person was mentioned. And she said, no, 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 her vibrations are not okay. You cannot use these posters. So, the photos can take on the vibrations of the people who are even printing them, even making them. So it's good we need to be careful, certainly in the years to come and down the road, use photos directly from a negative and just as in their purest form, are not negative. They don't have negatives anymore.
I know that's the thing. And also, I mean, quite a few. I mean, I don't know the numbers, but I know, Shri Mataji's photographs. They're framed in natural wood, auspicious wood, and things, and they are sold. It kind of it's like a commercial thing. Is that the thing? Did Shri Mataji ever comment on it, or is there anything to go by besides, the photograph of Shri Mataji, of course to each one resonates in a special.
Regarding the money, we should never make money. We should never make things for profit. These things should not be sold for profit. But if you can make, like in Kabbalah, they make these photos, and if you are buying a frame, you're selling the frame with it, then you will sell for the cost of it. I don't know. It's a tricky one there because they do a lot of fundraising in Kabbalah for different Sahaj projects. But in the past, it was very clear that you were not, Sahaj Yoga should never become a business. You're not to make money from it, and certainly not from, mother's photos. But with all things, discretion needs to be used. But money was always the use of money in a proper way was always a big thing,
Also because at we have these photos of Shri Mataji for sale, that yogis buy, of course, and they're framed and things, and so yeah, it's quite like Kabbalah.
So the Divine Cool Breeze website has two sections. One is photos of Shri Mataji that have been uploaded from the original photographers. I don't know what you say. That they've sent the photographer has sent the photos to the person who curates the website, and they're all uploaded there. And you can download those ones. They are uploaded for the purpose of people to be able to download and print and use for your own purpose, for your own meditation at home. So that is sight that you know that they've all been properly curated and put up there in an auspicious manner.
Yeah, and so, sometimes people take photographs of Shri Mataji, and the photographs become secondhand, where the person's vibrations are emanating through the photograph, which is inappropriate in every way. So it's important not to have a secondhand copy of a print photograph, you know. So there's a danger of that happening. And until recently, there's been quite an entourage of memorabilia of Shri Mataji's photographs being used to decorate pens and all sorts, all sorts of odd implements, where Mother's photograph is getting everywhere, and that's inauspicious. I remember Mother commented just to have one photograph of her on your altar in your home. Ideally, I say the word ideally. Now we're saturated with being able to obtain Mother's photographs, which is wonderful. But so it's important to treat each photograph with a lot of respect, and
because the photos are, because the photo is a manifestation of Mother's physical being. So when we have a photo on our altar, we are worshipping that photo as if Mother is there, because she is manifesting in that photo. So it is very important how we treat Shri Mataji's photos. And as you say, I'm flabbergasted to hear this, that it's being merchandised. This is not good at all.
No, it's very inappropriate. And to have the photograph is like a seed. It's like a living energy. Wherever we put our attention on Shri Mataji, she is with us, and it's really a great joy to look at Mother's photograph and know that she is with us. We were enjoying her company, and she's alive. She's in the moment, and she brings us into meditation to clear us out so that we can go deeper into ourselves. So the photograph is very powerful and something to celebrate and always enjoy that connection with our Mother. There was a time when there was some photographs being taken for Mother to decorate a poster for a public programme in London, and the photograph was very dark, and Mother commented it was not appropriate insofar as people could interpret it the wrong way to make it seem as if she was a black person, a Negro person, which wasn't a good image to portray for the English people. So that's perhaps it's an inappropriate time to make that comment, but it highlights.
Well, I think you're reflecting on the inherent racism that was more prevalent at that time. So Shri Mataji's being sensitive to the failings of some of the English people and didn't want that to get in the way of their realization. Once people have realization, then they can change, and these prejudices and attitudes can be changed. She also, I remember also one photograph being rejected because it was taken in profile. And she had said, when you use posters for advertising programs for new people, that you should have Mother looking out at out so that she could look into them. But she said her face should be full on frontal face, looking out from the poster. Do you remember that, Colin?
Yes, it makes a lot of sense. You can feel her presence manifest much more clearly where she's looking straight out.
People have said that, in hindsight, they realized that when they saw Mother's poster or they saw her photo for the first time, their kundalinis came up,
Yeah, great beauty. Just another comment comes to mind. If for new people, will respond to a true seeker will respond to mother's photograph in a positive way, and they will come to the programs when in the 80s, 70s and 80s, many seekers would see her photograph and come to Sahaja Yoga just by seeing her photograph. And then conversely, mother commented how if people do not respond to her photograph, like we're trying to spread Sahaja Yoga and trying to encourage somebody to come to a Sahaja Yoga program, and they see a photograph of Shri Mataji and they react to it, then they don't absorb the beauty and the joy and the love that the photograph is giving, then we should forget them. It's like, we should invite people 3 times, and to come to a program, and if not, then it's up to them. But with all compassion, we open our heart to everyone, and ideally we can be an example to share Shri Mataji's love. Goodness knows what, in contrast, what is going on in people's mind with people who do not recognize her photograph.
They're just not ready, are they?
Not ready, and hopefully they will come to Sahaja Yoga later. In
not their time.
It's not their time.
Everyone's got their different times, isn't it? It's when we're ready that we can recognize and receive mother's love in the form of.
But that brings back a memory of why in the early days, long before we had computers and internet and digitalization, the only means of spreading the news about programs was through newspapers, radio, and posters. And we would poster all of London, and Shri Mataji was really encouraging. And that's just why a lot of care was taken with the photo that was used in the posters, because we literally would kind of blitz the place around, and we would put posters up all over London, and it was, or whatever city that Shri Mataji was having a program or coming to, and we were all very aware the power of mother's photo to bring people to the program. So even a small advertisement in the newspaper, we always put a photo with that, with the details of the program, because that was the most important thing. If you could put mother's photo in the paper or mother's photo in the ad, this is what would draw people to come to get realization.
Shri Mataji's photograph is so powerful, and it's a lovely knowledge to respond to her photograph in the advertising of meetings in the past, especially before internet came along. May I share a playful memory? We were postering for the Royal Albert Hall, and I was flying around London, fly postering photograph of Shri Mataji, the poster of Shri Mataji, to advertise for people to see and come to the Royal Albert Hall. So I put up one poster in Soho Square, and then there was a chap who worked in an office nearby, and he saw the poster, and he came to the meeting at Hammersmith, the William Blake meeting, as it happens. And then his name was Alan Wherry, and so he came to Sahaja Yoga, and now he was in charge of media in Sahaja Yoga, not controlling media, but very clear how media works in Sahaja Yoga, and it highlights how destructive media can be in modern times, as is expressed by Shri Mataji at the William Blake birthday celebration in Hammersmith in 1985. So that was an interesting point. It's interesting that he now, it's a great celebration that he now celebrates a position of sharing his knowledge of the media in a very positive way. Mother directed him to go and live in America, and he's still in America now, doing a fine job.
Yes, it's a
managing intellectual property, including Shri Mataji's tapes and talks and books.
So is this an appropriate time also, because we're talking about the power of Shri Mataji's photos, to mention oh, I see you have other photos up. Maybe I'll leave it till later.
no, you might as well. You might as well. We'll be on this.
Sorry, I started. No, I'm sitting in my room and in our meditation room, and I'm looking directly at the photo that we know as the Dhanavantri
Dhanvantari photo, yes.
photo, which Shri Mataji posed for. And this is the photo that is used in Vashi in the health center for healing, for curing people of problems. And the left eye looks different from the right eye. It's both eyes working simultaneously to cleanse the being. And so there are specific photos that I know of, that we know of, that Shri Mataji specifically posed for us to be able to use in the future, to use for ourselves to meditate on. And that just goes to add weight to what we're saying about the powerfulness of Shri Mataji's photo, of expressing her being, and the need to be auspicious and reverential towards the use of her photos.
Yes, it's interesting you comment about the Dhanvantari photograph, because I was just going to speak about it, and then you began to take the words from my mouth. So therefore, how things work out. I was just going to comment that my understanding it was taken by Duilio in Italy, and it was taken in Brahmapuri, and I believe it was taken with a digital camera when digital cameras first appeared, and that's something to clarify with Duilio. But that's interesting how that photograph became the central photograph for medical problems, to enjoy meditating with that photograph to help heal any medical problems.
And that was the photo, I believe, that Shri Mataji recommended that they used in the Sahaj Hospital in Belapur and Washi.
Yeah.
Photo, yes.
Very good, very good.
Okay. Would you also have any recollection about that the black and white photo, the very first studio photo apparently of Shri Mataji in?
I remember that Shri Mataji, so this was the photo, this was actually the only photo in the early years that was handed out to new people. It accompanied the leaflets in India that were advertising her programs. And what Shri Mataji said was that this was the best photo to use because it touched everybody in their hearts.
Good, very good for new people.
So it didn't react. Their egos, nothing reacted to this photo. It just went straight into and opened their hearts.
Such a beautiful photograph. It's my favorite photograph to meditate with. Mother took several photographs with a photographer in India, and she was very particular which one she chose, which emanated the vibrations most clearly for her expression. I understand the photograph is of Shri Mataji as Sri Adi Shakti, is the label given to the photograph, the name to the photograph.
Right, I didn't know that actually. I think it contains all aspects of her, doesn't it?
Yes.
It's the Nirbhay Mudra. I'll share some photos that a link that you had sent as well, Colin. You could talk about those photos. There's a Swayambhu, I suppose, first, and then there's photos of Shri Mataji where you both can please share your recollections.
Okay. Yes, this photograph is of a Swayambhu in Maharashtra, the
Saptashringi.
Saptashringi. The photograph represents Saptashringi. It's a place where Markandeya prophesied the coming of the Adi Shakti of Kundalini 14,000 years back, I recall, apparently. And then, so this is a beautiful Swayambhu that's appeared naturally from the Mother Earth as the image of the goddess of Sri Durga, in particular, Sri Jagadambe, Mother in this aspect. So it's a very special photograph to celebrate the advent of Shri Mataji, given thousands of years ago. And it's curious how Sri Markandeya, William Blake apparently took his birth as Sri Markandeya in a previous life. And Kabir and Mother spoke about William Blake in the same aspect of Kahil Gibran. So it's all busy, great artists working on clearing negativity on the left side, giving light to the darkness, in particular William Blake.
This is actually a photo of the statue, which there's a temple you have to climb. We went on India tour. Mother would take us to climb up to halfway up this mountainside, and at the top is this little temple that they created where you go to worship. It's called Saptashringi. It's like it needs 7. I don't remember, I'm sorry, the exact details, but we knew the story in a bit more detail. But this is the statue is it not, Colin? You took the photo.
Yes, it's a statue of Saptashringi, no doubt. And it's such a beautiful location. It looks far and wide across the landscape of India. And if you look in the distance, I remember somebody commented there's like a little hole in the cliff face. And the story has it that this is where Markandeya fired his arrow through the hole, which was very playful. And there's another memory of this location of Saptashringi. We walked up to the top from the bottom, and it's a beautiful adventure, beautiful expedition. And then so we went to the goddess to see the Saptashringi, and then we came back down again to have our lunch and to have some food. And the food had been cooked by Shri Mataji Nirmala Devi, no less. And it was such a playful experience to come and see this ancient relic of the bygone age of the Swayambhu from 14,000 years back, to receive a meal cooked by her, her pure aspect, divine aspect. And I always remember the meal that we had. It was full of chilies. It was very hot, and somebody left the chilies in the curry. And because Shri Mataji had cooked the curry, we all felt we should eat the chilies as well. And apparently, Mother response was to laugh and said, "Oh, you should have taken the chilies out." So I remember that memory from an India tour. Very precious, beautiful moments.
Yeah.
The joy listening to this, Swayambhu so many thousands of years ago, and here's Shri Mataji, the Adi Shakti herself, cooking for her children, and the joy you guys are having, and eating those chilies with tears streaming probably, and then Mother just enjoying the whole scenario and everyone in such bliss.
But so it was a pilgrimage. It was a long way up. And it was very rocky path. It wasn't like a road or anything. And we took buses that came to the foot of this sort of semi-mountain. And then we walked on foot, and we had to go early before it got too hot. And it was quite a long way up. It was a good hour or two, I think, Colin. I can't remember exactly, but this was like a pilgrimage that much, Shri Mataji on these tours, especially the early tours, it was organized that we would travel around Maharashtra and visit all these holy places, all these sacred places. And this was a highlight. People would like warn you, oh, when you go to Saptashringi, make sure you've got water and things like this, So although the tours were very blissful, there was also quite a bit of tapas and penances as well.
Very true. There's some hardship to endure in the
Yes.
most beautiful way.
And if one remembers correctly, I think Antoinette had shared how it was on this pilgrimage to Saptashringi that she had this desire that she should have musically inclined children, and then she was blessed.
Oh, yes. Well, I mean, this wasn't a one-off. So there were tours from 81. I know I was on the 82 tour. We definitely went up. That might have been one of the first times. But then in subsequent tours, I know they were organizing the same trip. So many people visited this shrine.
Okay, great. So now this next photograph, hope it comes up. Yeah. Where is this?
I'm not sure where the location was. Again, it was taken through with a telephoto lens. I think it was Brahmapuri, Mother in Brahmapuri, and it's a photograph. It's lovely. Wherever Shri Mataji would arrive, people would greet her with a bandan of fire, the fire element, to celebrate her arrival. And it was like an Indian tradition of bandan to clear the fire element, to clear any negativity, no doubt. But such a great celebration of Shri Mataji's arrival.
Seems like Raulba doing the arti to Shri Mataji there as she has arrived.
Yes. Yeah, the arti, of course. So it's a photograph that works quite well. It's a photograph from a print because the first stage of the project was to copy the prints, and now that's being scanned, so the photograph would become clearer in the future production. This photograph, Mother posed in particular to have photographs of her in Holland. This happened for Guru Puja. It was a follow-on from a Guru Puja that happened in France, and then we met with Shri Mataji in Holland. We were on an India tour with Felicity's and children.
Yes, Colin, you were in that van. So Shri Mataji went on tour through Europe. She started the tour was to start in Belgium, France, I think, was it Spain, and then Holland. That's right. And so many people were going, and I can't remember exactly how, but we rented a white passenger van, a 12 passenger van, and we went with about 12 of us. Well, there were one, two, three, four, I think five children and one pregnant lady. And Colin, you were in the bus with us?
Yes.
In
We
the
had such an
van,
adventure.
yes.
We were
And
sharing the
so,
driving, traveling.
yes. So we were driving and following Shri Mataji as she went round Europe. It was quite incredible. And it ended in Holland with the Trigonatmika Puja. It was a really amazing experience to be going to these different European countries. And this was in 85, the summer of 85, like July. It must have been July, Guru Puja. So Belgium, then France for the Guru Puja, and then down to Spain, and then Holland. I have a feeling there might have been another puja as well. What else I do remember picnicking in the fields in France, but it was so joyful because, well, as you have done a recording of the French Guru Puja, which wasn't so joyful at the time because of incidents that happened. But we arrived after this had all happened, so we were still able to enjoy, you know, some of the joy of the Guru Puja. And it was just really special to be traveling and knowing that Shri Mataji was going to be in the next city, in the next country. You were going to see her, you know, again and experience puja as well.
Yes, very true. Very true. A beautiful moment to remember. I remember we had a good mother commented about the void and how we were below sea level in Holland, and it was significant of the void working out. I remember in her talk at that puja. Yeah, so it was a beautiful adventure. I remember we arrived in when we travelled to Madrid in Spain. We there were several nuns who came to the program, and they all put their hands up. They were getting their realization. It was such a joyful moment. I wish I'd taken a photograph to celebrate that moment. So lots of different experiences happen, and it's such a joy traveling with Sahaja Yogis in foreign lands. Such beautiful memories, such beautiful times to remember. And your son was there, and it's playful to all share the joy of the moment.
It's interesting because we actually had 5 children under the age of 3.5, I think, maybe 4. The oldest might have been 4, and yeah, we were. Yes, it was an experience. We were a little bit naive because it was a long way with little ones, and it was very, very hot in Spain. But we just didn't think about those things. You just wanted to be with Shri Mataji and take the children to be part of the experience. But it must have been different for you, having all these as an uncle with all these little ones there.
Oh, such a joy to be together.
So these are various photographs from your link on Facebook, I think. So please talk us through as you would.
That's an amazing crown. Which maybe we just touch on because we're seeing so many crowns. All these crowns were individually made by the hosting country of each for each puja, you know. And sometimes I know that maybe more than one crown would be made, like 2 or 3 would be made, and Shri Mataji would choose which one to actually place on her head for the puja. But this is an incredible crown. Look at the detail in that. So beautiful.
So beautiful, yes.
So creative.
This is Shri Mataji as Shri Shiva in the mountains in Italy, Montecatini, is it, if I remember correctly? So we had a beautiful puja to Shri Shiva, Shri Sada Shiva, mother in the Alps of Italy. There's a beautiful memory. I think this photograph is from Wimbledon, where we had the puja in Wimbledon. I think Greshna made the crown. She was always busy, Pat and Greshna was busy making the crowns to decorate Shri Mataji for puja, in particular the early days.
Yes, Greshna's.
Good. So one of her beautiful crowns that she created.
This one, where is this from?
I can't remember. It's one of a series, India, I believe.
Also, the crowns are on display in Kubela, aren't they? The crowns.
Yeah, they've been put together in display as like a museum piece, which is in the meditation room, the main meditation room downstairs in Cabela and Casa in Palazzo Dora. This photograph was Shri Mataji at Shudi camps when we had lots of building work going on. Shri Mataji spent time living there with Sasi P, and we would go every weekend to help with the building work projects. And I remember at this time I arrived and I had a building, a white builder's new suit on, and I just remember it. And Mother, it was just a beautiful moment to photograph Mother, and there's a reflection of light on her face from the tray appearing in the photograph, which appears quite miraculous. How that's manifesting. It's curious how Mother is in control of every moment, and as we are part of her being, ideally, she's manifesting through us in an auspicious way to capture moments and to do her work, whatever her work is, may be.
We've seen some of these photos earlier.
Yeah, this is the photograph of Shri Mataji I was speaking of, where the vibrations were flowing from her smile. So beautiful, beautiful moment. So it was next to where Mother was a second later, Mother was holding the flowers. This is a photograph of Mother in Pratishthan. We're jumping around quite a lot. This is Mother in Pratishthan. Beautiful time with the children from the school. It relates to the photograph we saw earlier where Mother was waving from the top of the staircase. And this was the time we spent with her in the courtyard when she was with her children, and a beautiful moment. I think it was the beginning of an India tour. We were quite fortunate because somebody had booked, I think Chris Patmore had booked the flight a bit early, so we arrived early for the India tour, and we could go and stay in Pratishthan. And so we had such a beautiful time staying in Pratishthan, to spend time with Shri Mataji, and as she was rearranging furniture in her room. I remember standing next to her, and she lost her balance for a moment and put her hand out. And I was fortunate to put my hand out to steady her, and so she clasped my hand to regain her balance. So there was such a playful experience to help help place the goddess in balance, if I may say so, on a physical level. So that's quite curious. So another moment we spent at Pratishthan. I just remember with the boys, Pasquale and Chris Patmore and different people, we spent the night. We have our sleeping bags and we'd sleep all together on the floor. And I remember this time because I remembered I discovered that I snored, and then because in the morning I found myself outside on the veranda. I'd been picked up in the middle of the night and placed out on the veranda outside because I was snoring too loudly. So I woke up in the morning to find myself on the veranda, and it was just a playful experience because I was to discover what happened. Anyway.
Did you take this photo, Colin, of
Yes.
the children? So this is the children. Can I just say a minute? This is the children from the ISPS school who'd come down from school in the Himalayas, the Sahaj school. And this was I think this is the children from the first year, because this was taken before my son went, and he went in the second year. So you can see all these, you can see the beauty, the closeness.
Yeah.
And Shri Mataji was very hands-on, there was no barriers between her and the children. Her
Which
heart
year is this
was
then?
open. Yeah, so beautiful, this one. So you took this photo, Colin? Yes.
Yes, yeah, it's one of a series of photographs taken.
Yes, I never realized it was you who'd taken it. So beautiful.
Which year is this, please?
So it'd be like 1990, I think.
Yes, yes. Mother of Sri Krishna. it's nice when you felt Mother's attention was on the camera, because her photograph would appear very clear and sharp. Sometimes photographs would become a bit foggy and they were not appropriate. It's almost as if the camera could feel where Mother's attention was at that particular moment that's recorded as a photograph. Her image is very clear and sharp. I wish I had a digital camera in many ways then, because we were busy changing film, checking if we had the right flash exposure, and we were always every 35 frames we'd have to put a new film in, and sometimes we would be in a race to see how quickly we could put another film in to make the most of different situations. This photograph was in Eastbourne. We were celebrating Easter Puja with Shri Mataji. I think it was in Eastbourne. It's a procession from India. This was Shri Mataji at the airport, most likely Heathrow, but it could have been another airport. But there were beautiful times when we would, greet Shri Mataji at the airport, and often we found ourselves being able to be very close to her and give her a flower and be in her attention. And it felt so much was working out at those times. And if ever anyone asks, what miracles do you remember of Shri Mataji? And the miracle is being in thoughtless awareness. Mother would fill you with such joy at these moments. As you had to put attention on you, you'd feel completely thoughtless and joyful with your attention at Sahasrara without any effort, and as if Mother was lifting us up onto a higher level. And if only we can stay there to enjoy this subtle nature of our being, it's a great privilege.
Shri Mataji would fly in and out of London a lot, because going to Europe and India and different places, and we would always know when Shri Mataji was coming back, when she was arriving, and everyone would try whatever you were doing to go to the airport to greet her. It was a very special, a privileged occasion, and sometimes the arrivals hall would be really packed out with all the yogis waiting with their flowers to greet Shri Mataji. And she was so gracious. She always took time to take the flowers, to greet people. How are you? And in one of her talks, she said, people have come up very much, like have cleared out and have grown through just coming to the airport to see me. And I felt at the time I was one of those people, because it was a place where, sometimes in pujas, you could be very much aware of your chakras and not feeling comfortable always. But you went to the airport to greet your mother, and it was always a time of joy. And as Colin said, you would just be so thoughtless, waiting for Mother to come. And later on, I noticed you could feel when Shri Mataji had landed, the vibrations would change, and you could go into Sasrara. It was very special.
Yes, very special moments. This photograph was a favourite of Mother. My photograph album would be shared with Shri Mataji at Brompton Square, and I think on one or two occasions I'd give the album. Danya would be in the company of Shri Mataji as she looked through the photographs, and this is one of her favourites, which she chose. She commented about, in particular, where a photograph captures her expression at that particular moment in time.
Did you always, when you printed them, did you always share them? Did you always make an album to offer to Mother, to show to Mother, to be shared?
Yes, in the early 80s, when Mother was in London, in Brompton Square. Yeah, I still have the albums next to me now. So I was just going to comment how Mother, when Mother would come to London, we'd often meet her at the airport, and it was Mother would always fly through London. England is the land of the heart, to work out whatever was on her mind in her itinerary. So she would deliberately fly to London to go to Italy, or from India or something. It was like always a link. It was a point where Mother could coordinate with the other countries, and her focus of attention was always on the heart, working out of England, and ideally England's going to be, the New Jerusalem of the future, where Sahaja is fully established as a land of God. And Mother's vision for that to happen is, very much in her attention, which she was sharing with us as we grow in Sahaja Yoga, grow more deeply in Sahaja Yoga, and we're celebrating her advent in Sahaja Yoga. With, it's delightful how Mother's attention we drew our attention to William Blake as a great seer to celebrate the New Jerusalem of England, which is ongoing. And so it's having faith that the growth of Sahaja Yoga is manifesting, becoming ever stronger in the UK, because Mother's given England, the heart, so much attention to work out. This particular photograph was Mother Sri Ganesha on the Matterhorn in 1985. And it's a beautiful moment to capture Mother. Antonia took some very beautiful photographs of Mother with the Matterhorn behind her at this time. And I remember we were very gathered very close to Mother, sitting next to her. We sat on the Matterhorn, and she was looking up at the sky, and she was drawing our attention to see the Param Chaitanya, the vibrations flowing like commas in the sky as we looked up at the sky. And it's really an amazing, beautiful moment, beautiful memory. So this photograph is one of a series. The location at this moment I can't clarify clearly. It's curious how Mother's expression on her face changes, and almost as if she looks like a completely different person in some photographs. Sometimes that variation would manifest, and not to always recognize her being, as if her physical being would be changing in different situations. This is one of a series of Mother in Holland that she deliberately posed to have photographs taken of her. This is an interesting series of photographs which I discovered recently. It follows a program at the Royal Albert Hall, and I believe it was the program where we showed Mother. We had a projector to show photographs of Shri Mataji with miracle photographs, as if making a statement to the people coming to the program at the Royal Albert Hall to share her divine nature. And remember, Derek Lee would be coordinating the speech of the different photographs shown in different times. So this is one of a series of photographs that appeared, and they're single frame photographs, but with double superimposed imagery, where the negative is not being manipulated in any way. So it's a clear series of 5 photographs where the audience is manifesting through the photograph. So it's really curious. So I had great joy because I discovered it fairly recently in my collection, and so it's a great joy to share it now. Really quite remarkable beyond words. This photograph was taken again of a series in Pune, Mother, where there's a series of 5 or 6 photographs. From one photograph, Mother's very clear, and then the photograph manifests her being manifest through the photograph as miracle photograph to show in different aspects of her being working out. So for some reason, lots of lights are manifesting here. And so it's the location is Pune in India. It's a place of Sri Ganesha, where Pratishthan resides, Mother's house resides. This photograph of Mother in procession, and Mother commented it was like a impressionist painting, because the photograph was given by Pedro, the Puja in Hampstead, all places. And so we'd offered a photograph to Mother in 84, 85, 84. And this is a comment Mother made about it. And one a Sahaja from Austria, commented that he could see Sri Hanumana in the top middle of the photograph. So it's an interesting photograph. So this series of photographs, we're doubling up a little bit, because I posted some photographs yesterday on Facebook just for convenience, because it's a wonderful way of sharing photographs with the collective, where people can access the photographs quite easily of Shri Mataji wherever they may live in the world, without having to download them and go through the hullabaloo of technical knowledge. And so it's a much wider way of sharing the photographs. A mother to share her vibrations globally, because Facebook is globally. So hopefully, of all the other stuff that's going on Facebook, this is a positive celebration of Shri Mataji. And so a lovely opportunity to photograph, to share her photographs for people to access, where people can access photographs from Facebook to print. So it's such a liberation of circulating Mother's photographs, which was never available before. Because, when we would go and print up photographs, and now it's so easy to share Mother's photographs online. So the internet is a great blessing. Social media is a great blessing for us Sahaja Yogis, and how we can share and spread Sahaja Yoga with people and have online meditation collectively. And it's bridging that gap of collectivity where we can enjoy being together if we don't always make it to the local hall with a local collective. So this is a most wonderful, beautiful photograph of Shri Mataji in Chhindwara, taken at her birthplace, Chhindwara, in the middle of India, in where Mother took her birth. And so it's a wonderful photograph of Mother as a child, is beyond words. So beautiful to see her. And a photograph of Shri Mataji as an older young lady, very beautiful photograph. Mother in Navratri Puja of Mother's feet. This is Mother in Margate, Navratri Puja in Margate. This photograph of Mother is on the Adi Gurus, I believe, at a Guru Puja in Kabbalah, I believe. This photograph was taken in Pratishthan, India.
When was this?
I think it was later than the previous photographs we took. It was taken a couple of years later, or the following year, on India tour. Again, we were gathered together in the courtyard of Pratishthan to be with Shri Mataji. So Pratishthan, the most beautiful place to go, because Mother designed it as an architect, and she had all the different details. In particular, that every location, every part of the house was auspicious, and the vibrations would flow in a particular way to give joy to the people, to us being there, visitors to Pratishthan. This mother in Belgium, photographed in Belgium, a series of 2 photographs. It's been widely used in different areas. The mother working on somebody with the candle flame in a public program. It could be Hampstead. This photograph has been used in India widely for puja, and it's Guru Puja, I believe, taken in Austria. Mother in Brahmapuri. Again, Mother commented about that photograph that she liked. This photograph in particular is Mother as Shri Saraswati. We stopped on tour, on India tour, on the bus to be with Shri Mataji under a tree, and she took the form of Shri Saraswati. And she commented how it's a series of 7 photographs expressing different moods of her being as Shri Saraswati. And she commented how, I think I spoke of in the last talk, how petrol engines are so primitive. And she asked if any physicists were present, so as if to design another form of fuel, of where vehicles could be propelled, perhaps in the same way, with the same knowledge of divinity as the pushpakas, where deities have particular, they could travel widely, within a short time to different locations in India. Like, it's a lovely story of Sri Hanumana lifting up a mountain to give to Sri Rama, because a particular herb grew on the mountain, which was medicinal, and so wonderful connotations, wonderful divine glimpses into the knowledge of the deities. This is a series of photographs taken in Italy, in Roma ashram, of mothers celebrating Nirvikalpa, how we were all at Nirvikalpa. We were singing a beautiful Italian song where this is Mother and Sri Ganesha Puja in Brighton. So good to go slowly, then it's easier to talk.
Sorry.
So it's a lovely series of photographs that express the different moods of Shri Mataji. And she commented how we were all at Nirvikalpa in Italy. It was so joyful. We were singing a beautiful traditional Italian song, which I don't remember the name of, but it was a very well-known Italian song celebrating the mother arriving in Italy, I believe. So great joy, great celebration. Beautiful moment. The mother arriving at an airport in Italy previously. So this is Mother in Sri Ganesha Puja in Brighton. Beautiful time, beautiful moment. Mother would share, sometimes people would give presents to Shri Mataji after puja, and Mother always looked so happy and joyful, like a child receiving a gift. And some photographs were embraced that quality previously. This is a series of photographs taken, I think, in Venice, where we went for Guru Puja or Diwali. I think it's Diwali Puja in Venice. So it's lovely to photograph mother in series because you create a film animation happening. So it's nice to see photographs in the same series with other photographs taken in the same location. So this one in particular in Venice, Italy. So going back, yeah. So
I'm sorry, it's all a bit mixed up now, it seems.
yeah, it's difficult. Sometimes it's difficult to share photographs from different sources.
Yeah.
They double up as in different aspects of the being of Mother's incarnation. So it's a real favorite. It's a lovely favorite moment. These photographs of Mother in Italy. This one captures the moment.
So beautiful.
This is Mother in Pratishthan.
Oh.
Lovely to see Mother with a shawl.
Yeah. And those traditional earrings. And
Oh, yes.
nurturing, gosh. Jai Shri Mataji again and again. Oh, so beautiful.
Okay, this is a photograph of Mother receiving a gift after a puja.
That one. Shri Krishna Puja. Wow, that is tremendous. All very thoughtless now.
Yeah, it's lovely, lovely seeing Mother's photographs because they fill you with so much joy and vibrations. It's so nourishing.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we hope the vibrations that has been generated with this session, going through such beautiful, beautiful moments with Shri Mataji, Colin, that you were so fortunate to have clicked for posterity and then to share with us. Thank you, Felicity, and thank you, Colin. Can't thank you enough for all the time and the love and the devotion and the attention with which you have shared with us all these lovely moments. And of course, we are forever thankful to Shri Mataji for giving us this opportunity to be able to be her humble hollow flutes, her instruments, and that she spreads her love worldwide, the whole universe, and that we remain in her protection and always do the right thing to please her. So
Wonderful.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing, Colin.
Thank you, Felicity. Thank you, Sunita.
Thank you, Colin, and have a lovely trip to India. We can't wait to hear more. And thank you, Felicity, for all the time and everything. Jai Shri Mataji to both of you.
Shri Mataji.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mataji.
Thank you.